This is the most inspiring story you will ever hear. It is the story of 180 female Chinese soldiers. Watch the video until the end. Sun Tzu arrived in the eastern part of China at the age of 19. After arriving in the capital, he devoted himself entirely to writing a 13-chapter book on military strategy. The vizier who read the book recommended him to the king. The king took Sun Tzu's book, studied it, and summoned him. Sun Tzu explained in the book how a small army could defeat larger forces in battle. After reading this, the king became curious about the practical success of Sun Tzu's theory. I have read all 13 chapters carefully. You explain how a small army can defeat larger units in battle. May I ask you to demonstrate how you did this? Sun Tzu replied, "You may." The king asked, "Can this be applied to women as well?" Sun Tzu replied, "It can be applied." Upon this, the king asked him to demonstrate the written instructions practically on the 180 concubines in his palace. Sun Tzu lined up the 180 concubines in military formation in the large courtyard in front of the palace. He divided them into two groups, placed the king's two favorite concubines at the head of each group, and gave each of them a spear. Then he shouted loudly, "I assume you all know your front, back, right, and left." The women replied, "Yes." Sun Tzu said, "When I say ready, you will look straight ahead. When I say turn left, you will turn toward your left hand. When I say turn right, you will turn toward your right. When I say turn around, you will turn completely around." When the women indicated that they understood, he gave the command, "Turn right." However, the concubines only laughed. No movement was seen. Sun Tzu said, "All right, 1 minute. Perhaps I did not convey the message clearly, and they did not understand me, so they did not do it. If the message is not clear, the fault lies with the commander." He questioned himself and repeated what the women were supposed to do. He demonstrated how it should be done again with the two female officers he had selected. After explaining what he wanted them to do once more, Sun Tzu gave the command, "Turn left." However, the female soldiers not only disobeyed the command, but laughed even louder than before. Upon this, Sun Tzu said, "If the commander's words are not clear, and the order is not fully understood, then the commander is at fault. However, if the orders are clear, and the soldiers do not obey, then the fault lies with the officers." In this situation, there is only one solution. That solution was to show that Sun Tzu was deadly serious. Sun Tzu decided to show that what was at stake in the battle was a matter of life and death. He ordered the execution of the two concubines most beloved by the king, who were also officers of the two groups. When the king saw from his throne that his two favorite concubines were about to be executed, he became extremely anxious and immediately sent the following message to Sun Tzu. "We have sufficient confidence in our general's ability to command the troops. However, without these two concubines, our meat and wine will lose their taste. We request that their heads not be cut off." Sun Tzu replied, "As commander of the king's forces, I cannot accept this, even if it is the king himself who is trying to prevent the punishment of those who disobey orders within the army." He immediately had the two concubines he had designated as officers beheaded and selected two new officers from among the concubines to replace them. This is the fundamental principle that was taught. Now everyone understood the matter very well. The 180 women would obey their officers. They saw that they must act with the utmost seriousness to succeed. The drum sounded once more, and the commands were repeated. The concubines performed the movements, turning right, left, marching forward, changing direction, kneeling, and standing up, with perfect precision and without a single sound. Sun Tzu turned to the king and said, "My lord, our soldiers are now properly trained and disciplined. They are ready for your majesty's inspection. They can perform their duties as their ruler desires. Even if you order them to walk over fire or walk through water, they will obey." He gave his report. After this, the king appointed Sun Tzu as commander-in-chief of his army. The king's military strength was far inferior to that of his enemies, and he had a weak army. However, this weak army could be transformed into a powerful one through strict discipline. The king recognized this. He appointed Sun Tzu as commander-in-chief of his army, and Sun Tzu, with his 30,000-strong army, defeated the Chu state's 200,000-strong army, drawing the attention of all other states. Sun Tzu's The Art of War is a book that offers many commanders and company managers the secrets of management, victory, and success. Written on bamboo strips approximately 2,500 years ago, The Art of War is probably the oldest strategy book ever written. Sun Tzu presents many principles related to management in his book on the art of war. Most of these principles are presented in a simple and straightforward manner and remain relevant today. If you have a company or manage people, you should definitely read this book. Hey buddy, what do you think of that story? Isn't it amazing? If you like this story, the instructions are clear. Like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. If you don't follow these instructions, I might show you my serious side, just like Sun Tzu did. See you in the next video.